Hello, hello. And this is going to be stationary. Okay. Shh. Okay, perfect. Is everybody having a good time so far? I hope everybody's made at least one new connection or one new friend. If you haven't, then come and speak to me. I'll introduce you to somebody new, okay? But not right now, after this talk. So, we're about to start talk number 2 right now. Just as a word of the warning, a word of the wise, if phones can be on silent mode as well. And then, just a stress on the active listening. When someone's speaking, just listen, just active listening. As I say, the presentations are about 10 minutes each. So they're designed to be that kind of time, just so you guys can kind of like focus in, and then you can go back and make some new friends again afterwards. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to the stage, I'd like you guys to give a warm welcome to Marton. Woo! Speaker number 2. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello guys, good evening. Can you hear me like this? Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna talk tonight about the hero's journey concept. That's an actual photo of me, as we've seen Camille, last speaker. So that's my mom telling me a fairy tale story, as she did every night. I had the good luck of having 2 younger brothers as well, so that meant that relatively, proportionally, I have received the most fairy tales, bedtime stories read as a young child. So, and I think that shaped a lot my imagination, my capacity of creativity. And we were a Christian family, so sometimes my mom would tell stories from the Old Testament, the Bible. One of those stories were from the young King David, that he started out as a young shepherd boy in Israel, and he had to fend off predators like lions to protect the family sheep. So he used this sling, which for us may look like an alien concept, but I assure you, in the Middle East, it's still used an active, deadly weapon. So he was a pro at that, and this knowledge came very handy later when a Philistine giant was mocking the God of Israel, Goliath, and David wasn't having that. So the story was that he was so pissed off and so proud of being an Israeli that he was sure that he would fight Goliath with his sling, and he did. So I think it's such a known, in popular culture, this story, even though we would not know that this is actually a biblical story about this small, youngest boy out of 8 brothers conquering Goliath with just 1 slingshot. So he earned the right to become the king of Israel, and he became the ancestor of even Jesus Christ. So I grew up on stories like that, and I remember distinctly one moment when I felt like that maybe I could be a hero too, or I could be a protagonist of my own stories as well. I was very much, puzzled by that notion, how easily my mom told us children that God would speak to these Old Testament heroes, and I was wondering, would God speak to me as well, and how would that look like? So that's when I was wondering, when is it gonna happen for me, when I'm gonna have my own protagonist hero's journey? And I'm sure that you identify, or this story resonates with you. We may come from very different backgrounds, but the stories have power, and this is something that is capturing the soul of us all, because we're yearning for being invited for an adventure. We yearn to have what we call, I guess, in this culture, in this day and age, main character energy. So, what is the hero's journey concept really? It's a cycle that means that the protagonist, the hero, is receiving a call for an adventure. And that's, for example, in the very famous movie Matrix, when Neo is being offered the red pill, he has to make the choice between the red and the blue pill. And that's his call, that's his initiation for his journey. And then that is followed by typically the supernatural aid or a helper is coming along to help the hero. In Neo's case, that was the Oracle. I loved always this story. Or it was Gandalf for Frodo, or it was Merlin for Arthur, the king later. And there comes a moment, as well as for Neo, when he is crossing the threshold, when he is moving away from the furthest that he has ever known. In Neo's case, that was the case when he was basically born again in this pod, this disgusting pod, as you might remember from that movie. And then it continues that the hero faces trials and tribulations, and he gets buddies and allies along the way. And I'm sure that by now you have association with other, maybe even Disney movies, that follow the very same pattern. So one of the highlights of the hero's journey is that dark night of the soul, the abyss, where it seems like everything is about to go wrong, where even the hero might die, but eventually he would, of course, survive with the help of supernatural helpers and his buddies, and he experiences death and rebirth. And then he is following his path on the atonement, and he is returning with the gift of the goddess with that elevated knowledge back to the village. And that is really the hero's journey concept in a nutshell. So basically, it is being replicated in all successful stories, may that be movies or cartoons or even religious myths. So I'm sure that these images stir or resonate with you as you see these images coming up. And no matter how old or new these stories would be, they have this one theme in common, that they capture something in our hearts and we easily identify with that. May it be as old as the Eden, the myth of Garden Eden with Adam and Eve, or as recent as our very own Tom Koprov's saga that he was showing us on Instagram while he was skating through Spain. And it's actually the truth that I was contacting Tom back then a couple of months ago while he was doing his thing, and I told that, hey, this is kind of reminding me of the hero's journey concept, and this is how we started to talk about this. So, yeah. I want to share with you 3 short e-learnings, takeaways, what we can take away from the hero's journey concept. So the first thing is that suffering can have meaning and purpose in our lives. So when we can know that there is a bigger frame to our story, that we have an adventure and we have a price to pay, we'll have allies, we will have helpers along the way, then suffering becomes having meaning. It gets meaning and purpose, and we are not lost in the nihilism of meaninglessness. So the psychologist Viktor Frankl studied Holocaust survivors, and he found that those Holocaust survivors who somehow managed to find meaning in that unimaginable, unspeakable horrors of the Holocaust suffered the least psychological damage, or could somehow live a fruitful, constructive life if they managed to somehow reframe their suffering. The second point is that life is actually more cyclical than it is linear. We have in this capitalist society a lot of expectations that success is just a straight line, a straight arrow, but that's not the case. So life and even biology in our very bodies teach us that life so much moves in cycles. So the 4 seasons, the fact that the earth rotates around the sun, or that there's a cycle to the day, there is night and day, the female cycle that is following the moon cycle, it is all showing us that there is more cyclicity to life than linearity, and there is seasons for change. So this is like the moth is following the light, and this is actually a physical thing that it does in its eye, that the light receptors have to meet a certain degree with that light source, and that is how the moth is correcting its path. That's just a fun fact. So I find that when we seemingly end up in the same spot again, it's never the same spot. We elevate ourselves in this ellipsis in our enlightenment, if I dare say that. And the third point is that you have the power to forge meaning and purpose for your own life and turn around your life. So I want to leave you with asking, how can you engage with your own hero's journey story? If I ask the question, what is the chapter that you currently live of your life? If you had to put it on a title, when did this chapter start? When do you think, how will you notice that you will start a new chapter? I am insinuating, if I use the words chapter, that maybe your life is a book. What would be the title of the book of your life? So I'm a business coach, and I am accompanying my clients on their hero's journeys. And this is my invitation to let me be your Gandalf to your Frodo in this symbolic language. And this is how you can connect with me. This is me working online. And this is my other role. I'm also a psychedelic assisted therapy provider, which is when I work with psilocybin mushroom. That's like a cosmic hero's journey that the client gets to experience in 4 hours. So that's a so-called a fast track on the cosmic hero's journey. So connect with me. My name is Marton Mányai. Thank you for your attention.
Wow. So I definitely didn't expect a cameo in the presentation, but a nice surprise for sure. I like to be used as an example on the hero's journey for sure. I love that. I love being left with a question as well at the end. So yeah, I hope that provokes something in all of you guys. No worries. I hope that provokes something in you guys, and I hope that gets you guys thinking too. As I say, that's what we're all about. Human connection, but also it's nice if people can leave when they come to a future event and they say, oh wow, you know what, actually, I heard Marton talk about this in your previous event, and like it really started something for me. So that's just something that I love that when we get out of our events as well. Anyway, guys, thank you. 30 minutes again now. Go smoke. Go have another drink at the bar. Go make some new friends. If you're sitting down, I really encourage you to stand up and go and speak to somebody new. Seriously, go and find someone new that you haven't spoke to yet. Go and say hello. You know. See you in 30 minutes. Awesome. Lovely. Really good.